are live with One Stream Live. Welcome to the studio. I'm Chryssa Skodra, Connections Unplugged from LinkedIn to Live. This is my new video podcast. In this show, I have the chance to bring my LinkedIn connections into open, unscripted discussions for you out there, for me also to get to know my connections better, not only in a professional manner, but also in a personal manner. But then you have a chance to listen to our discussions and get to meet these great people that I'm connected to. And today, this great person is Lucia Hirvi. Hello, Lucia.
Hi, Chryssa. Great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for joining me here. First of all, we are neighbors, right?
Right.
We are both here live to you out there from Espoo, Finland. Espoo is belongs in the Helsinki metropolitan area, if you don't know, in the capital region of Helsinki. But Lucia, we haven't met in person, right?
No, but we should change that very soon.
Absolutely. We're supposed to go for coffee or something. Then someone got sick or children or something always happens, you know, but this will change for sure. So for the people that don't know Lucia, let me share a little bit what she has in her LinkedIn profile. Her headline reads, "Turning canned into can." And trailblazing success and hatching innovative ideas. That's the headline. And I would like to ask you, maybe if we can start from that, what has been some defining moments in your career where you've been able to trailblaze success and turn cans into cans, and what highlights you can share that made you put that in your LinkedIn title? And then we go deeper into who you are as a person.
Sounds good. Yeah, a lot of cans there. But it is indeed so that I try to focus on, you know, what we can do rather than what we cannot, because there's just so much more opportunities when you actually decide that you want to do something rather than just, you know, giving up straight out. And yeah, as you said, my career has been quite multifaceted. It has started way back while I was still studying at the university. You know, it was a funny story actually, because I was studying accounting and I really wanted to be an accountant. So I applied for a position at Dell, and the hiring team said, "Hey, Lucia, you have such a great communication skills. You should try sales." Mm-hmm. You know, so I jumped straight headfirst into sales and became quite successful quite fast, right? I became like a coach, had my own team to lead, and it's been kind of the
you were at that time.
Oh my goodness. That must have been around 19, 12, 20 perhaps. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of juggling between studying and working at the same time. But, you know, I come from something that people would call Eastern Europe. I come from Slovakia. Mm-hmm. So it's a completely different culture compared, for example, to here Nordics. And as an expat, you get to feel it a lot as well. So it's been quite a journey, you know, getting from there all the way from Slovakia through Germany, through Sweden, and then eventually landing here in Finland. It's been indeed a journey.
And I believe in this journey, you've been able to turn a lot of negativity into positivity in order to survive. Am I right? Or have you had sort of a straightforward journey that everybody was saying yes to you? Thank you, Lucia, giving you the opportunities. Of course, you're given opportunity, but how do you feel your journey has been? Have you personally faced more cans and no's, or is there a balance, or what do you think has been sort of the now that you see looking back in your career?
Well, it has been quite balanced for a while. Back in Stockholm when I started working for the State Department, and I was in the field of public relations and communications. So basically, what I was doing was that I was drafting policy recommendations for the foreign ministry. But also, for example, I was active quite a lot in our expat group. I was leading young diplomats, coaching them. So it has been, you know, you could say I had it figured out back then. But then as faith and life happens, we decided with my family that we're going to move over to Finland. And basically, I had a challenge. I had to start from scratch, right? So abandoning my diplomatic career, abandoning my kind of public and foreign policy focus, and going straight into private sector, where I had to really redefine who I am and who I want to be as a person here in Finland.
Let me ask here, and let's now go back in time to who is Lucia and what made you who you are. They say, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, that we are products of our childhood. Is this true for you? Do you feel that you were the same person you've been as a child back in your childhood, or how has your childhood shaped you, or what lessons you learned? Because I do believe we are products of our childhood, and of course also science proves that all the changes that our brain has witnessed through this very early years are very formative. But tell me your thoughts on this, and depends how deep you want to go, but address to me sort of from the beginning of time, when you're a little girl to today. Are you the same person? What has happened that has shaped you into who you are today?
Well, I must say, quite honestly, that I am a different person now than I was back then. There was a recent scientific study that kind of linked chores with the way how we become as adults and how we are as professionals in the future, and this has actually worked pretty well with me. As a child, I was busy with chores. I was always helping out at home, and it was an environment where I placed myself into because I wanted to help my grandparents. I did not have good relationship with my parents at all, so moving towards my grandparents instead, and kind of trying to build a relationship there, it simply meant a quite different childhood than many of our kids, for example, are experiencing these days. And no, we did not have mobile phones. We couldn't block ourselves behind screens, right? I mean, it was, you had to be active, and what I think has this whole drama, this whole chapter of my life brought me to is that I became an empathic person, someone who, leads with soft skills, someone who believes in the good of people. And this has been characterizing me through my whole career. And, who I am these days also as a mother, as a wife. So it's been really prevalent there throughout the years.
And I agree with you. In childhood, perhaps all of us have our own stories, and perhaps we didn't receive the kind of love we anticipated. In one topic that I'm very interested in is the love languages. Dr. Gary Chapman, I don't know if you're familiar with the concept, talks about the love languages. And it means that each one of us, of course, we're multimodal, but we have perhaps stronger preferences. Let's say some people might have as a love language spending quality time with someone. Someone else might be feeling loved when somebody does acts of service to them, go out to the grocery. Let's say your husband, you were to go and pick up the heavy stuff and bring you the groceries. That's an act of service. For others, maybe it's gift given. For others, it's words of appreciation. Would you say, you mentioned that you have having, of course, the grandparents and still some trusted adults in your network, and be giving the chores and so on. I think it's very great, actually creates structure in and hard work ethic. What would be your love language? How do you feel that you're appreciated or loved? And not only on a personal level, but I think it ties to the workplace as well. How are you appreciated?
I certainly think that, actions speak more than words. And it's the same for love language. It's the same for your career and for your professional setting. It really throws bad light on you if you say something and then you do something else. So I'd say consistency here is really the key. It's important to really let the actions, let what you do speak for you and who you are as a team member, as a leader. No matter what positions you are in, you have to really be authentic and be consequent, and do things that you would do when you are watched, even though you are not watched, right? So this, for me, I guess, would be the characteristics of love language, like be true yourself and be authentic.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. And as you said, I'm a mother myself. And this I try to tell to my son as well, that first of all, I tell him, Philippos, remember, first I tell him this, that act in school or in public thinking, what would my mother say? But then I told him also, forget about me. Think about what's good, even if you're not thinking about me in the back of your mind and I'm not sort of your moral compass, but think of it whether somebody's watching or somebody's not watching. Am I doing the right thing? So this is important. You're very right. So what would your let's say, since you said that you're a mother yourself, you have 3 children?
Yes, right? Indeed.
Even though you look so youthful, you managed to have 3 children. Tell us a little bit about your kids, or what kind of mother you are to them, and what kind of parenting style you think you bring to their raising.
Well, I would kind of perhaps describe myself as being very approachable as a mom. No matter what the kids come up with, I really try to listen first before acting. And I think this is a good advice for anyone who is a new parent and perhaps doesn't really know what to do. Sometimes, it's a tip of an iceberg when there is a breakdown or when there is something happening, and we really need to do our best to understand our children with their own minds, with their own eyes. You have to have these glasses so that you can see their world, not through how we perceive it, but how actually they experience it. And this is, again, perhaps linked to the emotional intelligence, right? You have to be there for them. And this is what I've been trying to do also my whole life, ever since I become a mom.
And how about your professional life? Would you like to share a little bit? What is your current role? You mentioned that you came from, or your career has changed, as you mentioned, from accounting to sales and public policy shaping. And what do you do nowadays?
Indeed. So I came to Finland roughly 7 years ago, right? And as I mentioned, I jumped into the private sector, started to work for a company called SMARP, which had a tool which was kind of focusing on the employee advocacy of things. So internal communication, but also employer branding. So how do you come across as an employer of choice? So, and how do you get your employees to actually stand for your brand, to be out there and saying, hey, I really like my job, I really like to work for Microsoft, Nvidia, wherever you work for, right? You kind of want to be out there, want to be present, and want to be the ambassador of your own brand. And then eventually I tried different positions. I started in technical support. Then I went back to sales for a while, and eventually landing in customer success, where I have been for the past 4 years. And this is actually a career that fits me quite well, because it's focused on the customer centricity. It's focused on, what is it that makes you tick as a customer? What is it that really drives the value of the product? And you get to be kind of the middleman. You get to understand the customer needs, and you get to communicate them internally, which is why I think it really is the function of the future, right? The profession which is gonna really evolve in the future. We have seen an increase of customer success jobs in November 2024 by 25%, which is a quite high number, right? So kind of the community, the employers are waking up and they are realizing that, yes, customer success is important, and it's important to invest into this profession. In fact, I have actually started being more involved in the customer success community here in Nordics as well. So for anyone who is thinking of switching careers and joining customer success, we have a great network called Customer Success Nordics, where I am leading the mentorship program. So I'll happy to coach anyone who wants to come and get some great coach.
Great. Because I see you as a great network and community builder. You have also a lot of followers, more than the 6,000 followers on LinkedIn. You're very vocal. You have a good microphone there. I wonder, have you been actively producing content as well? Because I do believe that you are a great example of what you said before, a brand ambassador. You're very educational. You're very out there. You want to share your learning. So you lead by example, I think. Tell us a little bit about your community building and being the face or the voice of a company, because I think you're doing a great job in that. And I believe that I found you as, and I think I sent you first a connection request in LinkedIn, something that you wrote or something. As I said, we haven't met in person, but it was something about you, and you were very photogenic, and you had an interesting thought. I don't recall what was it about, but I reached out to you, and you gladly accepted my LinkedIn request. So of course, I believe you would like to welcome people to send an invite to you, right? So if everybody's listening, Lucia Hirvi on LinkedIn, check her out, send her a connection friend request.
Thank you, dear Chryssa. Indeed, it was about the community building that we actually connected, because you yourself have been quite active with building communities, right, with your previous employer, and I was collecting some research. I was doing some benchmarking about how to build communities, which is something that's quite often known by customer success, because we are not about gatekeeping content. We really want the customers or the communities, to be out there for each other, so that they can help each other out, solve problems. And of course, it also saves on your resources. No matter what company you work with, it's always great if you have your customers, your community members helping each other out. So yes, I am a big promoter of this. And this is why I'm also kind of trying to have this extracurricular activity where I help others within my community and trying to make them a better professionals, make them better leaders, coach them how to become this. So I do think that investing your time into something that brings more for the entire society or for the professionals within your network is definitely a good way of investing your time.
May I ask you what you currently investing your time in? You already mentioned a couple of things. Of course, you have your job, and you have family, and you have your extracurricular activities. Is there any other passion project of yours that gets your attention, or are you fully booked already with all of this?
Yes, currently I'm fully booked. I'm creating templates for customer success professionals that they can access, that they can kind of use for no matter if they are doing quarterly business reviews with their customers or any sort of value driven activities, trying to help and support there. But besides that, I do invest a lot of time also in educating myself. So reading a lot of books about how you make teams work effectively. Recently, I read the book Team Topologies, and this has been an absolute mind-blowing game changer for me, because understanding that you can own a certain process or a certain task also as a team, not just as one person, which makes a lot of sense, because the accountability of things gets spread in a different way. And well, we're really talking about optimizing and efficiency here. So it gets much more deeper, much more complicated, but it really it really pays off investing time into educating yourself about team topologies, for example. But besides that, I'm also trying to learn more about, customer success trends, what it is that it makes or is going to make the difference in the future. How do you stand out? How do you want to create a niche, create a product that really is the perfect market fit, because you don't want to be wasting too much time on research. Time is money. So investing and making benchmarks for that, it really is important no matter where you are in the career. There's always something to benchmark, right?
Sure. And always something to learn and to better yourself. It's endless. As you said, time is money. And of course, I wish the day had 36 hours some days to be able to do all the things that I'm interested in doing. But we're coping. I would like to bring a question. My previous guests, because I have this concept here in Connections Unplugged, where each of my guests are asking a question to the next guest. So it's a kind of red thread that goes through the episode. So my previous guest, Sam-Erik Rothman, a hospitality expert, the podcast host of the Social Hotelier, he asked you, let me see his question. He asked you, what makes you happy, or what happiness means to you, actually. What happiness means to you. So I would like to address this question, and then I want you to ask a question to my next guest. So first, what happiness means to Lucia?
That's a really good one. I would say in a professional setting, it really is about solving customer problems, making sure that they use the product in the most optimal way and that they see the value in it. But, in a more personal setting, I would definitely say the smiles and laughter of my kids.
Great.
Very cheesy, I know.
No, of course, as a person, as a mother. And how about your in a professional way as well? Do you want to work in an environment where you want your colleagues to be happy? Are you a people pleaser, or are you is it important for you that everybody's happy, or are you able also? The reason I'm asking, because I believe, and tell me where you stand on this, that sometimes we are so try to not to hurt anybody's feelings, that we are so unable to share our authentic opinions and true, that you mentioned about problem solving. Sometimes the solution might be very straightforward, but some people might not like it, and then maybe we're second guessing ourselves. What do you think about this? Sort of being true to yourself, telling perhaps the ugly truth if it needs to be heard, so that we solve a problem, and then being mindful of other people's feelings.
All right. Well, as a customer success professional, I must say that I sometimes have to deliver no's more often than I would want to. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely not a people pleaser. I have learned quite early that we have to be able to say no, and it's not for our own benefit, but often for the benefit of the partners or the customers that we talk to. So yes, it is important to say no, and doing this is also service for yourself. You have to sometimes cut yourself slack. You have to make space for your own development, for your own, create the unicorn space. I don't know if you ever heard about that term. So really make sure that you create a place where you can grow as a person. And this is where you also have to learn that you have to say no to other people around you, So, but coming back to what you originally asked, I do have a knack for helping people still, not calling myself people pleaser, but I really, I want to see them grow, which is why I'm also doing this mentorship program, which is why I have been always keen on getting in and teaching new employees, onboarding them, because I believe it's important that you want to not only give the knowledge, but also show that you are someone who is approachable, someone who they can rely on, and someone who they can definitely trust. So build the trust relationship upon which really anything else can grow.
Is it something that you are personally working on in terms of reaching your full potential, or you want to have something changed or towards a different direction that you in your personal growth at the moment?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think I would like to have a lot of people that I want to share my knowledge with. Which, by all means, I'm not saying I'm perfect and that I cannot evolve or I cannot get smarter or better at what I do, but I still think that we also grow as a community, which is why I want to do the mentoring. I want to learn from my mentees, but I want to also be able to mentor them and make sure that they can grow in their own professional way.
I would like to apply for this program.
Let's do it.
All
I have free time next week.
I would love that. So, and I believe that it takes a special kind of person with really a big heart who wants to give, because if you're a person who keeps everything, this is mine, I don't want to share, this is your, keep your secrets. I mean, I'm not that kind of person. I want to share. Sometimes I share too much. And perhaps this could be our similarity, but I do appreciate people who are open as a book. It doesn't mean that we don't have some things that we keep with our dear family and trusted friends and so on. But it tells something about the person when they're willing to be vulnerable, they're willing to learn, to open themselves, to share their secrets for success, inspire others, but also learn from others. As you said, you could learn from your mentees. I also feel, and this show, Connections Unplugged, is exactly that. I want to learn from all of you. I'm not here in a position of an expert asking you questions, and I'm in a position of authority to ask you, tell me about this, tell me about that. But I want to learn about you. I want to, because I believe you can learn from people who are better than you. And I love to surround myself with people that I trust, that I'm getting inspiration from, and so on. I'm not intimidated if and a tear is coming here now. I'm saying, so I mean, I am getting emotional. It's not only the light here hitting me, but I do believe that we learn from everybody. Everybody has something to share. Tell me about you now. What question would you like to ask, and what would you like to learn from my next guest?
I think I would like to perhaps learn what do they enjoy most about what they do. Because often we are someone in our professional life or in our private life, and perhaps it becomes a routine. So every now and then it's difficult for even the strongest individuals, to be motivated, to find that spark, what it is that really kind of drives you forward. So yes, whoever it is, gonna have a hard task to answer that question.
So you heard Lucia's question. So my next guest, and Lucia, you have to watch this, the next episode, not only yours, our episode today on the replay, but see the next episode, watch it, see the answer. And of course, everybody who's listening as we are streaming live to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, thanks to OneStream Live, make sure to leave your comments in the native platform, wherever you're watching us from and you're tuning in. I would like to ask my last question to Lucia. Is there anything else you would like to add before we close today's episode?
Perhaps just massive thank you, Chryssa. This has been wonderful, coming over to your show. And I truly believe that it's a fantastic mirror, or perhaps a window into, your LinkedIn connections, and just seeing how many fantastic people you are connecting with, not speaking about myself, but all the others. I'm definitely going to stay tuned, and I'm going to follow up on all the webinars that are coming up. So thanks for bringing us and, putting kind of a face behind our LinkedIn profile.
Exactly. And thank you so much. And I'm glad you accepted the invitation, because that has been in my heart. I want to focus and go behind and see what drives my guests, what inspires them, where they've been, where they're heading. And I want to hear their stories as they like to have them told. And I have about 5,000 connections. And I calculated that if I bring every day, I feature and make an episode featuring one of my LinkedIn connections, it will take me about 13.5 years. So maybe this show has a long standing history. We go live now every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So maybe many more years. Expect Connections Unplugged. I would like to thank Lucia Hirvi, who has been here with me. Thank you, Lucia. Let's meet in person.
It's been my pleasure. Absolutely. I owe you a coffee.
I love to see you. Pleasure has been mine. So have a nice rest of the day, Lucia.
Thank you, you too, and all your listeners out there too.
Thank you. And remember, everybody, that if you want to try and make your own content and to try perhaps going live or pre-recording content, I would warmly advise you to try OneStream Live, Finnish company from Finland with love. This show, Connections Unplugged, is powered by OneStream Live, and I'm very humble and thankful for their support. OneStream.live, you can find more information. I'll paste the link below so you can try it for free. It's a cloud-based live streaming solution. It enables you to do so many things, but the two favorite of mine is pre-recording content and streaming it live, or completely going live to more than 45 destinations and social media simultaneously. Connections Unplugged is live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. That's the 3 destinations I am using. And feel free to connect with me. Feel free to send me a message if you want to be featured in this show. And my goal is to feature all my 5,000 connections. So I will be gray hair lady here and talking to you. So until next time, thank you for tuning in and listening. Bye-bye.